yeah. It is a winter wonderland, my friends. You know, they say that the Inuit have, I don't know, some ungodly number of words for snow, and that it's specifically because they live around snow all the time. It's just part of their lives. So I would be interested to learning some of those things sometime. Today we're talking about what I'm doing right now, which is actually quite dangerous. So the dangers of cold exposure, and one of the most dangerous ways to do cold exposure is what I'm doing right now. I've got shorts on, I'm walking around, and there's a breeze. You can tell that the wind, actually it's quite strong. So there's a lot of different ways you can get cold exposure, and a lot of people are like, hey, what's the best way? What does so many minutes in an ice bath equate to versus being in cold air? And if you take a look at my ebook on my website, I've tried to do a little bit of the math. I'll try to do a little bit of, at least in my personal experience, what those are like. This is crazy. As I'm training in the cold right now, I'm actually taking a greater risk than if I were in an ice bath. Now you might say, wait a minute, how do you figure that? A lot of people feel like open air is easier than, man, the immediacy of the ice bath. Well, I'll tell you. First of all, in an ice bath, there is absolute danger, right? When you get into an ice bath, you can, if you stay in too long, you can get after drop. If you stay in long enough, you can have hypothermia and die, okay? So ice bathing can kill you. There are absolutely dangers to cold training, and there's no special trick to make that not be the way it is, right? There's no special trick that's gonna make cold into something that will not eventually kill you if you stay in it long enough. However, there are different degrees of danger. So an ice bath, you get in, the danger is hypothermia. In an ice bath, the danger is not the danger that I'm having here. Of course, I can also get hypothermia if I stayed out here long enough. But the greatest danger to what I'm doing right now, cold air exposure, is the danger of frostbite. So this is something that you don't have when you're training in the water. You don't really have the danger of frostbite. Now, you might have frostbite danger. You especially have frostbite danger. If I were to get in that river over there and then come out, especially with the breeze, my frostbite danger would be even greater. But you have to understand, when you are in the cold, especially cold air, that you have the risk of frostbite in a way you don't have when you're in cold water. You see, the cold water can only get so cold, right? It can only be so cold because, hey, it's going to be liquid, and your body heat is actually warming up the water around you in a way that it's going to prevent you from having frostbite. Whereas the air does not have that, and especially when it's windy like it is right now, it's challenging my body to stay warm. And it does this actually the same way that sweat works. So whenever the hypothalamus is informed, hey, you're hot, you need to start sweating, you start to sweat. And that's based off of one of the laws of thermodynamics. You'll experience the cooling effect of sweat, which is great because there's, and I'm not going to explain it all, and I don't really fully understand it all, but basically some heat is borrowed from your body in that evaporation, and it cools the body, all right? So that's essentially how that works. Well, it still is doing that right now in the cold, and that is how you can experience frostbite. And a lot of times you don't even realize it because your skin is actually getting colder than freezing. It's getting colder than it would get if it were in just ice water. So you can experience tissue freezing. And when that happens, and it happens long enough, you can get frostbite. And then it's something you do not want to mess with. Now, a lot of people that are cold trainers, they're always like, Jesse, what, you got that hat on, huh? If you had that hat, maybe you would get a cold if you didn't wear a hat. Oh, Jesse, you gotta, like today I'm wearing my, whatever it's called. But scarf, yes, that is the word. So why do I do that? Well, I want to cover sensitive areas of my body so that I don't get frostbite there. You have to understand that the most sensitive areas of your body, that's where you're going to get frostbite first. And so I want to cover my ears. I want to cover the nip of my neck. I want to be as protected as I can, because those are the places where I'm not going to notice. It'll get kind of numb. And then before I know it, oh great, now I've got dead tissue, I've got tissue damage, I've got frostbite. So when I'm out doing a cold air exposure, what I'm always trying to do is maximize the amount of time that I can stay out safely. And you'll notice that I'm walking in laps. I'm not trying to do some kind of a huge long trek. And that is because I'm all by myself and I want to be safe. Now, if I were doing a long trek, I would have a backpack, and in my book, A Practical Guide to Cold Exposure, I go over all the things in my backpack so that you can have a safe time. I've seen very experienced cold trainers, go out and overdo it and have a lot of regrets as a result. So that's why I wrote it. But the thing is, you want to have a safety bag. You want to understand that the whole goal is not to kill yourself. You want to survive the day, and you want to survive long enough so that you can come back the next day and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. Because this is for your health. This is not just to prove something to somebody or prove something to yourself. Yeah, there are a lot of benefits in proving that, look how capable I actually am. I don't have to be so afraid all the time. But ultimately, we want to live through it too. Guys, don't forget that when you go out and you're enjoying this absolutely gorgeous, just look at this, absolutely gorgeous cold exposure, the beauty of nature, the beauty and the strength that you have within you to withstand this your natural environment. But also remember safety, because you want to come back the next day. You want to make this into an experience that you benefit from, not one that you regret and you're suffering from for many days after. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy the rest of my walk, but I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Don't forget to go out there, be kind to one another.